Good evening, everyone. I'm Barbara Agan with Edify Credit Union, and I'd like to welcome you to our virtual education session on fraud, this one being romance scams, protect your money and protect your heart. This session is being facilitated by Greg Borland, who is our fraud investigator, and I will now turn the meeting over to Greg.
Outstanding. Thanks, Barb. Good evening, everybody, and welcome aboard. So first off, in honor of Valentine's Day, we decided to do a deep dive on a very, underestimated fraud, and that's the romance scam. It's not given enough attention that it deserves because it really does hurt some people. So we're going to move right into it. As Barb said, my name is Greg Borland. We're going to go over to my brag sheet. I've got over 28 years of law enforcement experience. I retired as a police captain of a large department in central New Jersey, where I was basically second in command of the department. My home was always the investigative division. I spent the majority of my career in the investigative division, and I've done investigations into just about everything that you can think of. So I've got a lot of financial crimes investigations under my belt. Moving right along. Let's dive right into it. So what's a romance scam? They also call it a relationship scam. It's where the scammer pretends to be romantically interested in someone. They want to gain your trust. They want to develop a relationship online. What's their ultimate goal? They're going to steal your money. They're going to try to steal your personal information, or they may try to influence you to do a favor or a task for them, which we'll get into as we move along. So how does it work? So they typically occur online in social media or dating apps. The days of going out and meeting people have long gone by. All of the generations now seem to be using dating apps, social media, online platforms to meet people. So the big ones: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tinder, Bumble, which is one where the women make the first move, and then Hinge is generally for long-term relationships. So the scammers are smart. They are using artificial intelligence now. They create complete background stories, fake profiles. They use attractive photos. They give compelling personal stories. They bleed their heart out to try to draw you in. You'll see there are certain red flags. They'll often claim that they live far away, they work in the military, they work abroad. They try to dissuade any in-person meetings because obviously they're not who they say they are. So they're trying to build trust and emotional attachment. They do it through frequent contact, a lot of messages, video chats, calls. They really turn it on. They really pour it on. So the plot thickens. Once they develop the basic trust with you, they're going to start to really develop the relationship. Okay. Now, when they're going to start asking questions, small questions at first, they kind of lead you down the garden path. It's a script, it's a dance, right? They're going to get that information from you. They may sell that while they're still quote unquote dating you, right? So meanwhile, you believe you're in a relationship with somebody online. They're selling your information on the dark web so that people can go out and get accounts in your name and borrow money in your name, use your information for all sorts of nefarious purposes. They may try to get you to send compromising pictures. They use them in extortion, sex extortion, or the word, because we love special words in this industry, sextortion. Basically blackmail schemes, okay? They'll get you to send pictures, and then they'll use them to force you to do the things that they want you to do, perform tasks. They may get you to betray other confidences or access professional information. Let's say you work for a doctor's office. They may say, hey, can you get me information on 10 of your patients? I'm doing a blind survey and it's for my work, and I'll get fired. Or wherever you work, they'll try to pull confidential information that they can use to try to build to scam more people. And then eventually they cut right to the chase and they start asking for money or financial assistance. This is the money grab. When the time's right, you get hooked. They start to invent urgent financial needs, medical emergencies, travel expenses, visa fees, investment opportunities, bail money for legal defense, right? I had one where their fiance was arrested in another country and was being held by the general of that country. And it just, they wholeheartedly believe this was happening.
Greg,
So they're going to have payment done through wire transfers, gift cards, money transfer apps. Cryptocurrency is huge. Amazon gift cards, even Western Union, right? Generally speaking, not to disparage Western Union, but in this day and age, if somebody's asking you for Western Union, you're getting scammed, right? There's so many other ways to do it these days. They use it because it's essentially untraceable and it's irreversible once it's done.
Greg, a quick question for you.
Yes,
When you said once they get hooked, is there a typical time frame where, or is it vary based on the situation?
it really varies on the situation and it varies on the person. Some people are more suspicious. Some people are very lonely, right? Some people believe real quick. They use a technique which we'll get into called love bombing, where they pour on the emotion very, very quickly, right? And they drag you in that honeymoon
Hmm.
fairy tale fantasy, right? You found your soulmate. So it really depends on the person. Right. So who gets targeted in this? Anybody can be a victim. Across the board, age, social class, ethnicity doesn't really make a difference. They really target widows and widowers. You see the elderly, right? Because they're looking for companionship. Okay, so they're trying to fulfill a need. Anybody who's lonely or socially isolated. So that's when you start to get into like your younger crowd too. With the online presence and post COVID, people are lonely. They're cooped up. Their emotional and social intelligence has suffered. So they're really ripe for the picking. It's really low hanging fruit. And then data suggests that women are most often the victims of this type of scam. Um, any age, any income level, intelligence, I've heard before, I'm too smart for that. I won't fall for it. Right. And then they fall for it. They use what's called social engineering. Okay. And emotional manipulation. And with AI, the technology, artificial intelligence, it's becoming easier and easier for them to get more tools to take advantage of you. That's why it's very important to be on guard. All right. So, what the heck is social engineering anyway? It's the art of exploiting human psychology, right? And it's as simple as that. They're um, reading your emotions. They're pushing you in a certain direction using emotions, and they're very good at it. Psychological manipulation now is easier than all the high tech hacking techniques. With the computer age and all the high tech we've got going on, every system, we've got a defense for that system. We've got three systems that are defending the system. Well, now they're going old school. They're just manipulated human beings. It's been going on since the dawn of time. And as long as human beings are human beings, it's going to continue to, you know, work in that direction. It's just very effective. So, what's the impact? Huge, huge financial loss. Federal Trade Commission says in 2025 alone, over $1.16 billion. That's billion, B with a B, billion with a B, right? In the US, victims have lost. Now, this is what I mentioned in the beginning. The loss severity increases with your age group. And what does that mean? It means that as people get older, they've generally saved more money, right? So when they're young, they don't have as much money behind them, right? If people are doing the right thing or approaching things properly, they're trying to save as they get older, that nest egg, that retirement fund. So the loss severity is proportional to age because people have more money to lose. So what I was saying before is that this is kind of an underrated fraud scheme. It doesn't get the attention it deserves, right? Because the betrayal of trust, not just having your money stolen, okay? Not just having your money stolen, which is bad enough, but that betrayal of trust can really be traumatic. That can, I mean, there's been instances of suicide. There's people's lives spin out of control. It just, it causes a lot of emotional trauma. And we tend to center on the dollar and cents and not look at the impact of the people behind, the victims behind the money, which is why I highlight this part. All right, so we've got some red flags. So I said before, rapid emotional attachment, they call it love bombing. Too soon, too fast. Okay. They're going to request to move the communication off the dating platform to another type of communication platform that is less traceable. And we'll go over some of those at the end. I've included them just kind of as a familiarization for everyone. There's always excuses for not meeting in person. There's always going to be unusual or urgent financial requests, right? And you're going to see inconsistencies in stories or personal details if you're looking for them, all right? The people that get buy in and fall for this tend to overlook all that. It's important to have a critical eye. All right. Some tips for protecting yourself, right? If it looks too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true, right? Be suspicious of anyone asking for money or personal financial information. Never, ever share your information. And it happens all the time. And we try to stress it to our members, right? Never share your information. No good comes of it. And this is a big one. Don't be embarrassed. I mean, this happens to everyone and anyone. And a lot of people don't talk about it because I guess it is kind of embarrassing when people fall for this. They don't want to believe that somebody that they thought they loved and thought loved them will betray them like that. So talk to somebody, close family friend, um, whoever you have in your circle, right? That person that keeps you grounded, that you will talk straight with you and give you the straight dope, even when you're off on cloud nine. Run it by them. It can't hurt, and report it. Back to the old thing. If you see something, say something. If call up the credit union, call me, right? I'm a resource for you. If you think you're being taken advantage of, we look at it and we monitor, right? If I see that I think somebody's being taken advantage of based on circumstances, I'll reach out to the member. Okay. If their spending habits change dramatically, right? We look to take care of our members. Well, it's a two-way street. If you're feeling a certain kind of way about something, if you have some doubts, if there's online going on, call up. I'll always, listen and give you an opinion. And maybe we can, stop people from being victim before it really happens. All right. As we start to wind down, these are some communication apps that you should all be aware of, right? This is where they'll try to move the conversations off of. Facebook Messenger, I'm sure everybody's familiar with Facebook. Facebook has become what started out with the younger generations. It's now moved to like um, millennials and older. So you're seeing millennials, you're seeing Gen X, and you're seeing baby boomers. The younger generations, they still have Facebook, but it's not nearly as prevalent. It's become the social media go-to for the three older generations. Instagram, direct messaging, that's huge. That's huge across the board. You'll see all the generations, even down to the new one, Gen Alpha, right? On Instagram. TikTok, huge, 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 huge. We're very popular with the younger crowd, with Gen Alpha, Gen Z, your millennials. It's starting to get into your Gen Xers now too. And there are baby boomers, but it's not as prevalent. So TikTok has a direct messaging function on it. Then you get into like some of your encrypted ones. They love the encrypted ones because they're not traceable. Um, all the messages disappear with them. Okay, and it's very very hard to try for legal processes to try to trace them backwards. So there's one called WhatsApp that's very popular. Signal is another one. It's encrypted, and one of the newer ones now is Telegram. Moving along. Right. So just additional resources, people that you can turn to. Um, your credit union fraud investigator, like I said, me, the local police department using the non-emergency number. There's always, if there's something suspicious, right, we want to document it because if it's happening to you, there's a chance it's happening to somebody else. And maybe we can put a stop to it before it happens to somebody else. The Federal Trade Commission has a pretty good website on fraud reporting, reportfraud.ftc.gov. AARP has Fraud Watch Network. That's pretty easy to use. And the FBI is now in the game with their IC3, the Internet Crime Complaint Center. In the fraud world, we love acronyms and we love catchy little words. So now we've got IC3. So I left some time at the end for questions. And here at the end, I want to thank you all for coming out and giving your time tonight to sit through. We'll go through some questions. And as always, there's our trivia question at the end. You get a double word score if you know the quote. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
I don't know that one.
Anybody? Anybody?
You can say it, unmute, or chat it. That works. Any hints?
Any hints? From a radio show. Radio show.
Radio song. I don't know.
And it may
Susan
have some.
unmuted. You gonna give a guess?
There's a link to Scooby Doo.
I don't know.
No? Nobody's in?
I don't think so.
God, you guys make me feel old.
No, I have no idea.
All right. American Top 40 radio show in the 70s with Casey Kasem.
Okay, well I know that. What that he would say that?
At the end of every show, he ended every radio show with, yep, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. And he was the voice of Shaggy in Scooby Doo.
For $100,000 or more, I would never have guessed that. But let me officially thank everybody for taking the time to watch this session. I'm going to stop the recording, and you're welcome to stay on if you want to share or ask questions.